Alright, so today's mission is to go down to the homebrew shop and pick up a regulator for these oxygen tanks that I use. Now normally I've been using CO2 regulators with an adjustment valve that will fit onto here, but I want to go ahead and get the regulator specifically for that so that I can use the other CO2 regulator for my secondary CO2 regulator. So let's go ahead to the homebrew shop and get that sorted out. Alright, so I finally did get the regulator. Seems like forever to be able to try and get one of these things. Simple little oxygen bottle regulator. Been putting these up been trying to get one of these for about a year now, and they're always out. They finally came back in. Also got a few other things that I've been wanting to get. Yeah, I'll show you when I get home. So let's go ahead, get back on the road and head home. Brewing wise, man, what am I gonna do brewing wise? I really want to do a Russian Imperial Stout, something that will be ready in the fall, something that will have to sit in lager for probably at least 6-9 months, and then be ready to drink. So I think my next brew will probably be a Russian Imperial Stout. Brew days these days are far and few in between. So when I make or reserve a day, that's probably the best way to put it. When I reserve a day to brew, then I'm pretty much going to just dedicate the entire day to the brew. So I've already booked a day with the family that they will do something else and I will brew. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to do, is just to find the time. I mean, watching these guys brew every single weekend, just week in, week out, it's like, wow, how is it you're not divorced? My brewing is probably once a month, if I'm lucky, which I'm not usually. With a 5-gallon batch and me only drinking on like Friday nights or Saturday nights, and then I'll only have probably 2, maybe maximum 3 beers. There's no way that I'm going to go through a 5-gallon keg quickly. They can last a couple months drinking like that. So what I've also discovered is that beer spoils. Yeah, kegging is great. High ABV beers will last longer than those that are not, but they do spoil. it's not like they go infected, or you do have those beers that get infected and then they just taste raunchy after 3-6 months. This is not the case. I've actually come to discover that these beers that I've been having, things from the SJ Pour Challenge from last year. I had a couple extra, and I recently tried them, and they're not so great a year out. The ones that are like 4.5-5%, they don't last very long. I'm thinking a shelf life on something like that's probably 6 months maximum. I know when I brew low ABV beer, regardless if it's bottled or kegged, it's great. It's reached its peak, I think, after like 6 weeks, and it probably stays there for a couple months before it starts to degrade. But sure enough, in time, it will degrade. So let's talk a little bit about brewing beer and weight loss, because that seems to be an interesting topic. I think a lot of people are interested in that. How do you lose weight if you're drinking lots of beer? It's pretty simple. You don't drink a lot of beer. What's the saying? Don't overindulge. All good things in proportions, small proportions. So when it comes to losing weight, how did I lose weight? Well, I remember watching Brian Mujati's video talking specifically about his diet, and it makes sense thinking about it now and looking back and researching it after the fact. But before, it's kind of clueless. I mean, you just don't know what the secret is to losing weight. So you get hung up on watching all these YouTube videos of these shirtless guys, that look, really well in shape, and they're talking about, losing weight and working out and, no pain, no gain, and, pushing it to the limit, P90X and all that stuff about exercise. They say, buy the program, buy the program. It's like, why do I want to buy the program if you're showing me all the stuff in the exercise that, you're going to show me in your tapes or your recordings or your videos, whatever. And it's really not what's they're showing you in the videos. I mean, it seems it's pretty common sense that, yeah, you want to get in shape, you got to work out. That's what they make you believe. It's really not about the workout. The workout is gaining muscle or getting those muscles toned. But where do those muscles reside? Well, they're under layers of skin and fat. So, is working out going to make you trim off those layers of fat? No. It's not working out that's trimming off those layers of fat. When you work out, what are you doing? Well, you're burning calories is what you're doing. And where do calories come from? Well, calories come from your diet. And of course, these guys, they sort of allude a little bit to, you got to eat right, and then it's all about buy the program to figure out how to eat right. So when I was watching Brian's video, and he's talking about, tracking your macros, I've heard that term before. And I was like, what are macros? I mean, I know what, Excel macros are, and I know what macros are in terms of programming and application development, but not, in terms of exercise. Macros turn out to be, calculations of a variety of things. Once you figure out what your body mass index is, that will pretty much tell you how many calories that your body needs just to stay alive every day. based on my height, my weight, that will give me my number of how many calories I should consume every day just for my body to stay alive. And then there's my activity variable that will determine how many more calories I should eat just to be able to, you know, survive and be healthy. So, you know, dialing this into the program, you know, it really helps out because it will sort of, you know, tell you those things. If you want to get really, really detailed, then you need to go figure out, you know, what's your body fat, but it's not really necessary. You know if you're obese or not. I'm still, as I look statistically, categorically, as I find it on a chart, I'm still obese. So, still trying to work down from that, out of that category. Alright, so dialing this into the program, initially, the program told me that I should eat based on light activity, exercising 3 times a week, that I should be consuming 2,500 calories a week. Okay. And what is my target weight loss is another variable. And it goes basically by week. You know, how much weight do you want to lose per week? So I said, okay, based on the recommendations of the program and from what I've seen and read, about a pound a week is the most you want to probably, you know, target. If you have a lot of body fat and you start to work out, just walk. Go for a walk for an hour a day. And you're going to notice, you know, you're going to lose more than a pound in a week, you know, easily. And yeah, it does taper off, but as long as you maintain a good diet, then it will continue to shed out, you know, you'll continue to shed the pounds. Okay, so based on my experience, 2,500 calories a day, I should lose a pound a week. And I don't know if you've ever tracked your calories, but 2,500 calories in any given day, it's a lot. You know, breakfast should be 350 calories. Lunch should probably be at least 600. And then you've got the rest to make up for dinner, and then maybe a snack before you go to bed. Of course, a snack of the right things, not a Snickers bar or some crap like that. But there's one piece of the puzzle that's always missing from the explanations, and here's the key. It's the proportions of what you should be eating from the foods that you're getting. So it's the proportions of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Specifically, those 3 things are the values. Those 3 things are the key. Those 3 things are what you want to keep track of. You know, these people that are going like low carb diets, sugar-free diets, things like that. You're basically short-circuiting yourself, or you're sabotaging yourself, because your body kind of needs these things. And there's a 50-20-30 rule, or 50-30-20 rule, or some people even go like 60-20-20, or is it more 40-30-30, something like that. But it's all basically carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So I do the 50-30-20 rule, where it's 50% carbohydrates, 30% fat, and 20% protein. And that kind of sounds a little bit offsetting, perhaps. You know, if you don't think about it, you don't realize. But there's a, you know, you're thinking like, well, that's a lot of fat. Actually, 30% of your diet is fat. Yeah, but there's lots of different types of fats. Well, what is it, 3 or 5 different types of, you know, interesting fats. Saturated fat, and there's a couple different variations of that, I believe. Then there's the mono fats and trans fats, and those are the really bad ones that you don't want. So those are the things that you keep out of your diet. But good fat is good for you. I mean, your brain, your body needs this just to survive. So carbohydrates, I mean, you don't want to go too low on these things because your body needs these things. The carbohydrates, provide healthy calories for you. You just don't want to go like 60-70% where that's all you're consuming. So 50% carbohydrates, 30% fats, 20% protein, and that's been working out really well for me. Let's see, I started off in September running and watching what I'm eating, tracking all of the calories, and then the macros basically are the ratios, I believe. Combination of them all, I guess. Somebody can straighten me out if they know better. Please do. So yeah, tracking your macros is figuring out what your body mass index is, and how active you are, will determine on how many calories you should eat every day. And then it's the percentages of those three key things that you want to keep track of: your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. Stay away from stuff that has mono fats and trans fats. And those things you're going to find in like margarines and some oils and things like that. But natural foods, oatmeal for breakfast with some bananas or raspberries or strawberries, maybe a little honey and cinnamon. It's fantastic. A couple boiled eggs, egg whites, if you want to be really keen on that. The thing about eggs is that the yolks, people say don't eat the yolks because, it has all of these cholesterol in it. But like fats, there's good types of cholesterol too. The ones that you don't want too much of a good thing is a bad thing. That's kind of like beer. Too many yolks is a bad thing. So initially, for the first 5 months, I stayed away from egg yolks. All I did is eat egg whites when I had eggs, just to get the protein. But then after doing a little bit more research into it, when I had time, I found out that the stuff that's in yolks, the cholesterol that's in yolks, is actually pretty good for you. It does help with like your body breaking down fatty acids and whatnot. So the recommendation was no more than 2 eggs or 2 egg yolks on any day. So now I'll have probably 4 eggs every day, 2 at lunch and 2 for breakfast. And sometimes I'll have the egg yolks in the morning with after I have the oatmeal. I'll just have a couple boiled eggs, a sprinkle of salt and pepper on it. Fantastic. Sometimes I'll just have the egg whites at breakfast with a slice of turkey or chicken meat, and that's in addition to the oatmeal. And then also, I'll have the eggs with the yolks at lunch instead. Just doesn't matter. But never more than 2 egg yolks on any given day. Anyway, so how have I done? What is my track record? Well, trying to lose a pound a week has actually been successful. When I started this endeavor, I was 234 pounds. I think that was it. 234 pounds. That was last September. Started exercising, started tracking my macros, and I started to lose weight. Ever since then, it's been on a steady decline. Now I've got a chart I can show you. It's been continuously dropping the whole time. So I'm pretty happy. Like I said, now I'm about 211. I've lost 24, 26, 28 pounds, somewhere in there. I went from 107 kilos, 107.5, And I weighed myself on Thursday this week, just a couple days ago, and I'm down to 94.5. Actually, I had 94.1, but I marked it off as 94.5. So, hey, that's pretty good. That's like 12 kilos in 6 months' time. I'm on track as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's 12 kilos in 6 months. That's 2 kilos a month, which, you know, is 4.4 pounds. So I'm really happy with that. My wife is happy with that. My kids, not so much. My kids, kids like big bellies. What can I say? But yeah, brewing beer and weight loss. It's tricky. It's tricky as hell. I'll admit, you know, when I was 107 kilos, I was drinking beer. Not every night, but at least I'd have one every other night, maybe two. And I was like, you know, my beers, big beers, you know, they're 300 and something calories each. You know, they're more than a Snickers bar, at least a Snickers bar. So that's just asking for trouble. If you like having a big gut, you think having a big gut is what it's like to be old or getting older, I mean, it's just a natural thing. It's not. You're doing that to yourself. You're sort of sabotaging yourself. So it took a long time to figure that out. So I stopped drinking during the week. And now I just reserve enjoying my beers on Friday night and Saturday. That's it. It sounds like a big sacrifice to a lot of people, I'm sure. But it's really not. I don't think about it that way. I look at chocolate and I see poison. I look at my beer during the week and I think, oh, I can't wait for Friday. But it's just the way it is. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. It's a life change, and that's what people mean when they say that. So I'm looking forward to getting slimmer. And I'm fitting into pants that I haven't fit into in the last at least 8 years. And I'm kind of enjoying that. I'm going to go ahead and continue to lose weight. My goal is to get down to about 190 pounds. I haven't been that weight since, you know, since I was 32 or something like that. So I'm really looking forward to getting there and dialing in my macros for maintaining that weight, and still going to be enjoying the beers on the weekends and not overdoing it. And yeah, that's just me. Home brewing is about brewing your own beer, enjoying your home beer, and being satisfied enough with it to share it with your friends. At least that's what home brewing is to me. And so that's what I'm going to do. Home brew, lose weight, and enjoy life.